Alright, hello everyone. Today we'll be doing another video on redstone in Minecraft. And as you see right here, I'm going over the tripwire and pressure plate right here because these are kind of the theme that we're going to continue in this video. And that is detection methods. There's a lot of detected type of blocks in this game, so we're going to get started right now with the target block. I've also got this set up on every single one to show you the output out of 15. For the target block, basically how close you get to a bullseye, that's how much output is given. So it'll give a full 15 output if you hit an exact bullseye, and I had a bit of trouble actually hitting the bullseye as well. But right about now, I believe, I hit it. There you go, I hit a full 15, so it's very specific. So if you do hit a full 15, very well done to you. But this is a daylight sensor. As you can see right now, it is right now midday, so it's outputting a signal of 15. Now if I turn off always day right now and do daylight cycle, and then I go to my commands and I do a little command to change the time of day to, let's do sunset, then you'll see this will actually go down to about halfway to basically signal that it is approaching night. Now you'll see right here I've actually got an inversed daylight sensor. You basically want to just activate the daylight sensor and it'll turn it blue. Now what this will be doing is it'll be detecting night time. So if I make it, night, it'll be about halfway. It'll be approaching up. And if I make it, midnight or whatever, you'll see that it actually becomes, well, the daylight one goes completely off at this point. So there's no daylight that it's detecting. And the other one is detecting quite a lot of night. Now we're going to go over the lightning rod. This was just recently added, and basically what it will do is it'll detect if there's some lightning nearby. It'll essentially be dragging lightning in a, I think it's about a 3-chunk radius, I might be wrong about that, to it. So if a lightning does actually strike this, I'm going to do a simple little command, summon lightning bolt, then what I'll do is it'll actually output a signal. As you see right here, I output a little signal right there, which basically lit up the entire redstone line. And now we are on to the skulk sensor segment of this video. So you'll see that a lot of this stuff is basically just wool, and what that basically means, wool is a insulator. And so what it does is it doesn't actually allow the rays of the skulk sensor to detect you from the directions that wool is there. Now what a skulk sensor basically does is it detects noise nearby, and then it outputs a signal, and you'll see that right now. So we're going to destroy this right now, all this wool, so that we can actually activate this skulk sensor and it can actually start hearing us. So what we're going to do is we're going to activate it right now, as you see right there. And what the actual output signifies is how close you are to the skulk sensor. So if I'm over here, you can see it's not actually listening to us. I'm out of range. But as you see, when I'm about 8 blocks away, it starts listening and it can hear me moving. Now if I get really close to the skulk sensor, it's going to output a big output. As you see, it's practically 15. If I'm right on top of it, it'll be 15 right there. So that's what happens when you don't have a comparator coming out of the skulk sensor. When you do have a comparator coming out of it, it'll, instead of capturing how far away you are from it, it'll capture the type of sound that it's hearing. So right now, it just captured me jumping right there, as you see right there. And now it's capturing me walking. That's why it's doing a 1. So jumping is 2. Walking is 1. There's a few other ones as well. One of them is shooting an arrow from a bow. That'll give you 3. I believe another one is also equipping an item. So I'm just going to equip this little leather helmet right here, and it's going to give us 5. And we also have placing and breaking blocks. That'll also give you a different output as well. Now I really do highly suggest you go to the wiki for the skulk sensor, because it does list all the different types of sound and how to actually get them, and this is very useful for indicating who is actually activating the skulk sensor. Is it someone who's just walking nearby, or is it someone who's just someone who's opening a chest, as I'm doing right now? But we're only scratching the surface right now, as that's just a normal skulk sensor. We can actually improve this bad boy and make it a calibrated skulk sensor right here. It looks a little bit different. It basically uses amethyst in its crafting recipe. Now this thing as default, does have a bigger distance. I'm going to showcase this distance off for you. It's probably the exact same usage, but it's about double the distance than the normal skulk sensor. As you can see, it's starting to detect us all the way from over here. So I believe it's about 16 block radius. And obviously, as I get closer and closer, the more it lights up. So we're going to close this one up as well, and we're going to go to the comparator one. Once again, this will be tracking the type of sound, but just to show you once again, it is off a bigger distance. That is the only difference right now. It can just track you from a bigger distance, and also as well, you can probably recognize it's actually tracking us more often. It's doing the little pulses more often as well. But the unique feature of the calibrated skulk sensor is you can actually have an input that goes into it to essentially calibrate it so that the output so that it basically only listens to that type of sound. So right now I've got a lever flicked all over here, which is basically inputting a power into this of about level 2. Now the reason for that is because the lever is very, very far away from it, and so the power is only level 2 going into it. So what that means is it's only going to be detecting jumps. So when I jump, it's going to be detecting it. Now, what it's also doing as well, because there's no comparator there, it's going to be detecting how far away that jump is from the skulk sensor. So because I'm jumping right here, it's giving us a very big output. And as you see, I'm really, really close to it. It's giving us like a 15. Further I go away, it's less and less and less. Okay, so now I'm actually going to flick the next lever down, and this one was the arrow one. So right now, if I start shooting arrows, it'll start detecting the arrows, and also how far away I'm shooting the arrows from as well. So as you can see, it's about that far away, and that one's a little bit further away. But as you can see, it's not actually detecting my movement nearby, it's only me shooting the arrows. So that's basically what the calibrated settings do. Now if we have a comparator, once again, if we have a comparator, it'll only output the type of sound. So we can once again calibrate this. I've calibrated it to jumping, and it'll only be detecting me jumping, and it'll output what type of sound it is, which is jumping. So it's only going to ever output 2, ever, because it is only detecting jumping, and it's only going to output jumping. So yeah, I really hope this explained how skulk sensors work. They are quite complex and do take quite a lot of time to learn them, but I hope that was a nice little guide on how to actually get started with them. But now let's go over some other detection methods. We have an observer right here, as you can see. This is an observer. What it does is it detects block updates in front of it. So if you place a block or destroy a block, it'll detect it, as you see right there. When I place a block in front of it, it detects it, and it gives us a very brief output. But yeah, that's basically what this block does. I'm also going to move a block in front of it. You'll see that it also detects it when I move it in front of it and when away. And it also detects a change when the block itself is moved as well. Just like that. Now, it's also really good for farms, specifically for sugarcane farms and bamboo farms. So whenever the bamboo basically grows, as you see right here, I've placed it down, obviously detected that, but when it grows, it also detects it. So you can essentially rig this up with a piston, like what I'm going to do right now, where it basically activates the piston. I'm going to get a block, and I'm going to put this right here, activate that, and you can just see, I'm going to break it right now, and put another one down. But when it grows, it gets harvested, and it's going to keep doing that over and over and over again. Now, a unique mechanic of this is it's essentially an infinite redstone line that can go anywhere because it detects a block update, but then the observer detects that block update, so then the observer behind it detects the block update that the observer detected, and it's essentially a big chain that can then obviously interact with a redstone lamp at the end, as you see right there. It does take a while, but, you know, it does the job though. And as you see right here, it actually also has the properties of redstone repeaters, where you can essentially have them line by line right next to each other. And as you see, it doesn't interact with the lines separate to it. So it's very much easy to have one next to each other. And now we'll get into the noisy part. We can basically have these linked up together to form a clock. by basically having one facing the other one, which is facing that one, so it's constantly looking at each other and updating each other. Now, interestingly, the redstone lamp doesn't actually update very quick, but the trapdoor does. So that's something you're going to find with a lot of output devices, is that they update at different rates. Now, we've also got the detector rail right here. So this basically detects if there is a minecart on top of it. So we're going to push this minecart, it's going to go on top of it, and it outputs a signal. Now, this is especially useful if you have rails that go different directions, as you can have a detector rail basically set up with some redstone if it's a little bit further away, so that when a minecart comes over, it changes the direction of the track, and so you go somewhere else. But yeah, that is literally everything for this video as well. This is all the detector methods in Minecraft. I know a lot of it has got to do with the skulk sensor and the observer, but they're the two big ones. There's obviously some other big ones as well, but yeah, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. And yeah, if you have any questions, once again, please do leave them down in the comments. I'll try to answer them all. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.